Good day, and welcome to our special report on the U.S. economy. This is Blue Wave News, your trusted source for real-time updates and in-depth analysis. Today, we're diving into the latest developments surrounding the potential recession looming over the United States in 2025. As we move deeper into the year, economic signals are becoming increasingly mixed, causing uncertainty not only on Wall Street but also in households across the country. Analysts, investors, and everyday Americans are all asking the same question: are we heading into a recession? Let's begin by examining the most prominent indicator, GDP, or Gross Domestic Product. In the first quarter of 2025, the U.S. economy contracted by 0.3%. While that may not appear alarming on the surface, it marks a significant shift in momentum. Economists consider 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth a key recession indicator. And while we've only seen one so far, the trajectory is raising eyebrows. It's important to remember that the National Bureau of Economic Research, the organization that officially determines whether we're in a recession, takes a broader approach. They consider various indicators including industrial output, real income, employment, and retail sales. So while we're not there yet, the warning lights are flashing. A deeper look into regional economic activity shows mixed trends, with some states experiencing a sharp decline in manufacturing output, while others are seeing a modest uptick in service sector performance. Shifting our focus to the stock market, April brought turbulence. Major indices like the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones Industrial Average have seen sharp declines. This volatility has rattled investor confidence, with some experts drawing parallels to the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Several key sectors, including tech and retail, are showing signs of strain. A lot of this market stress appears linked to recent policy changes, especially trade policies that have reignited global tension. In addition, investor sentiment is being influenced by uncertainty surrounding Federal Reserve policy decisions, especially regarding interest rates, which have remained elevated in an effort to combat persistent inflation. One of the most controversial of these policies is President Trump's decision to impose steep tariffs on Chinese imports. The 145% tariff on various goods has triggered a wave of concern across the business community. These tariffs, which were justified as an effort to boost domestic manufacturing, are instead raising prices on everyday items, from electronics to toys. Retailers are already warning consumers to brace for more expensive holiday shopping seasons, and economists worry that these higher costs will only exacerbate inflationary pressures. Additionally, small businesses that rely on affordable imports to maintain their margins are now facing tough decisions about pricing, layoffs, or even potential closures. Despite all this, the labor market continues to be a bright spot. In April, the economy added 177,000 new jobs, exceeding forecasts and reinforcing the notion that businesses are still hiring. The national unemployment rate is holding steady at 4.2%, signaling a resilient job market. However, this resilience may be sector-specific. Industries like travel and hospitality are starting to experience a slowdown. Major airline carriers have scaled back their earnings forecasts, citing a decrease in domestic travel bookings. This suggests that while the job market looks strong on the surface, cracks may be forming underneath. Gig and freelance workers, often left out of traditional employment metrics, are also experiencing income instability as demand for short-term labor declines. Let's talk about consumer spending, arguably one of the most critical components of the U.S. economy. Currently, it reveals a growing divide. High-income households, buoyed by stock market gains and increased property values, continue to spend on travel, luxury goods, and services. However, the story is very different for lower and middle-income families. Rising food and housing costs, along with inflation, are chipping away at their purchasing power. This group is pulling back on non-essentials like dining out, entertainment, and retail shopping. With consumer spending accounting for nearly 70% of GDP, this divide poses a serious risk to sustained economic growth. Retailers are seeing a shift toward discount shopping and private label products as households seek ways to stretch their budgets further. In terms of broader economic forecasts, caution is becoming the dominant tone. JP Morgan Chase has increased its estimated probability of a U.S. recession from 35% to 60%. Similarly, the International Monetary Fund recently updated its recession risk assessment for the U.S. from 25% to 40%. These projections underscore growing anxiety among financial institutions that the combination of trade tensions, inflation, and softening demand could culminate in a recession. Other institutions, such as Moody's Analytics, have noted increased credit card debt and rising delinquency rates, especially among younger Americans, as additional signs that consumer financial stress is building. And the international impact shouldn't be ignored. China, in particular, has already responded to U.S. tariffs with countermeasures of its own. This has created a chilling effect on global supply chains, further complicating the economic picture. Factories are slowing production, shipping costs are rising, and businesses on both sides of the Pacific are bracing for a prolonged standoff. Some analysts believe that this escalating trade war could have long-term consequences not only for economic growth, but also for geopolitical relations. Meanwhile, other global economies are watching cautiously, adjusting their own trade strategies and alliances to shield themselves from potential fallout. Let's not forget the political implications. With the 2025 presidential election approaching, economic issues are climbing to the top of the national agenda. A recent Gallup poll shows that 60% of Americans now believe President Trump's policies are directly influencing the current state of the economy, for better or worse. Candidates on both sides are likely to center their platforms around economic recovery, job creation, and inflation control. How voters respond to these challenges could significantly influence the election outcome. Debates are increasingly focused on how to strike the balance between protectionism and economic openness, and how best to support middle-class Americans who feel squeezed on all sides. So, what does all this mean for you? First, now is a good time to take stock of your financial situation. Experts recommend bolstering your emergency savings, reducing unnecessary expenses, and reassessing your investment portfolio to ensure diversification. If you're in the job market, staying updated on industry trends and continuing to build skills can offer a crucial edge. It's also wise to monitor interest rates and housing market trends if you're considering major financial decisions like buying a home or refinancing. For those with student loans or credit card debt, now may also be a good time to explore refinancing or repayment strategies to reduce long-term financial strain. To wrap up, the U.S. economy stands at a crossroads. While there are still strong areas, such as employment and high-end consumer spending, there are also undeniable signs of weakness. Trade tensions, rising prices, and a widening economic divide are creating a landscape filled with uncertainty. Whether these trends culminate in a full-blown recession remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, the next few months will be pivotal. Policymakers, businesses, and consumers alike will need to navigate these uncertain waters with care and vigilance. Thank you for watching. If you found this report helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Blue Wave News for continued updates on the evolving economic story. Stay informed, stay prepared, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.